I called my coworker chunky after she repeatedly called me slim and made references to my weight, even after I asked her multiple times not to. So, I work at this accounting firm downtown. Nothing fancy. Just your typical cubicle farm where everyone pretends to be busy while scrolling through their phones. There's this woman who sits 2 desks over from me, Jana, and she's been working there for like 8 years. I've been there for about 2 now. I'm naturally pretty thin, always have been. I eat like a horse, but my metabolism is just crazy fast, which honestly pisses people off sometimes. I get it. It's annoying when someone can demolish a whole pizza and not gain a pound. But that's just how my body works. Jana started with the comments pretty much from day one. At first, it was little things like, "Oh, look, there goes Slim," when I'd walk by her desk. Or during lunch, she'd be like, "Are you really going to eat all that with your figure?" I figured she was just being friendly in her own weird way, so I didn't say anything. But then it got worse. She'd make these comments about how I probably shop in the kids section, or how I need to eat a burger whenever I'd mention being tired or having low energy. During team meetings, she'd literally interrupt conversations to point out how skinny I was. Like we'd be talking about quarterly reports, and she'd go, "Well, at least someone here doesn't have to worry about their pants getting tight." The breaking point came during our office potluck last month. I brought this really good pasta salad that my mom taught me how to make, and I was actually pretty proud of it. Jana walks up to the table, sees me putting some on my plate, and goes, "Wow, skinny girls really do eat. I thought you just survived on air and compliments." Everyone around us just got quiet and awkward. I felt my face turn red because like half the office was standing right there watching this happen. I pulled Jana aside after lunch and told her straight up that the weight comments needed to stop. I explained that it made me uncomfortable and that calling someone skinny all the time isn't actually a compliment when it's used to make them feel weird about existing. She just laughed it off and said she was just joking around and that I was too sensitive. Classic response, right? Like somehow making someone uncomfortable repeatedly is totally fine, as long as you call it a joke afterward. But here's the thing, Jana didn't stop. If anything, she got more creative with it. She started leaving protein bars on my desk with little notes like, "Thought you could use these." She'd make comments in front of clients about how the office needed to fatten me up. During video calls, she positioned herself so she could make faces and gesture at my body when I was talking, thinking I couldn't see her. The worst part was that nobody else said anything. I mean, I get it. Nobody wants to get involved in workplace drama, but it was so obvious what she was doing. Sometimes people would give me these sympathetic looks, but that was about it. So, last Tuesday, we're in the break room and I'm heating up my leftover Chinese food from the night before. Jana walks in, sees me waiting for the microwave and goes, "Geez, Slim, save some food for the rest of us though. I guess you'll just burn it all off by walking to your car anyway." And I just snapped without even thinking. I turned around and said, "Well, at least I don't have to worry about getting chunky like some people around here." The microwave finished beeping right at that moment. So there was this perfect little silence where you could literally hear the hum of the fluorescent lights. Jeanette's face went completely white, then bright red. She opened her mouth like she was going to say something, then just stormed out of the break room. Within like 20 minutes, I got called into HR, apparently. Jana had reported me for body shaming and creating a hostile work environment. I almost laughed when they told me that because the irony was just incredible. I explained the whole situation to Lisa from HR, how Jana had been making comments about my weight for months despite me asking her to stop multiple times. I even had screenshots of some emails where she'd made comments about ordering lunch for the skinny girl and stuff like that. Lisa looked over everything and then called Jana in for a separate meeting. About an hour later, both of us got called back in together. Lisa basically laid out that calling people names based on their appearance wasn't acceptable, regardless of whether the person was thin or heavy. She said that Jeanette's behavior had been inappropriate from the start, but that my response, while understandable, also crossed a line. We both got written up, which sucked. But honestly, I felt pretty vindicated. Jana had to sit there while Lisa read back all the comments she'd made over the past 2 months. This formatted script preserves clarity and flow with appropriate punctuation throughout. If you want more editing help or summarization, feel free to ask Story2 at the court hearing. My wife's boyfriend, a lawyer, said, "You'll leave with nothing, soldier." I didn't speak. The judge looked at him, then at me, and said 5 words that made the whole room go silent. Chapter 1, The Man Beside Her. The wooden bench beneath me felt harder than it should have. I sat straight back in my full army uniform, hands folded, a calm I'd learned from years in service cloaking the storm inside me. To my left, my soon-to-be ex-wife twisted her diamond-stacked fingers. Her new boyfriend, Marcus Hale, the arrogant corporate lawyer she met at a fundraiser, sat beside her, smirking like he already owned everything in the room. "Don't make this harder than it has to be," she whispered earlier in the hall. "Marcus knows the system." She wasn't wrong. Hale strutted into the courtroom like it was his personal stage, dressed in a tailored suit with cufflinks shaped like gavels. His voice, smooth and theatrical, filled the courtroom as he presented the case. "Your Honor," he said, walking circles around me like a lion sizing up prey. This man, while respectable in uniform, contributed very little to this marriage financially. He has no claim to the house, no involvement in the investments, and frankly, he turned to the gallery with a grin. "He's been gone more than he's been present." Whispers scattered through the benches behind us. I kept my gaze steady. I had no lawyer, no suit, no smirk, just my uniform, the truth, and one unopened envelope. The judge, an older man with a scar across his temple, the kind no courtroom gives you, listened silently, fingers steepled. Hale ended with a flourish. "Your Honor, let's not waste time. My client is simply asking for what's fair. She keeps the house, the car, the savings. He can leave with his boots." A chuckle echoed from someone behind them. My wife didn't even flinch. She heard it all in rehearsal, I'm sure. The judge leaned forward. He hadn't spoken much, hadn't reacted. But now he looked at me, then at Hale, then back at me again. And then 5 words. 5 words I would break the room. "Sergeant Walker, please stand up." The courtroom stiffened. Even Hale blinked. Excuse me. But I was already on my feet and the entire case was about to turn. Chapter 2, 5 words and a folded flag. The second I rose, the room shifted, not in noise but in energy. The judge's voice, calm but weighted, cut through the tension. "Sergeant Walker, please approach the bench." I stepped forward in silence, each heel click echoing in the courtroom. The oak-paneled walls seemed to lean in closer. Even my ex-wife's smug confidence faltered. She glanced at Marcus, who gave her a quiet shake of his head as if to say, "Let me handle this." I stopped in front of the judge, his eyes locked on mine. "Afghanistan, 2010, he said softly. "You pulled 3 men out of a burning Humvee under RPG fire. One of them was my nephew, Corporal Daniel Rowe." A pause. The entire courtroom froze. Even Marcus dropped his pen. "I never forgot your name, Sergeant. When I saw your case on the docket this morning, I requested the file myself." He leaned forward and I read everything. He turned his gaze to Marcus. "Mr. Hale, let me remind you that courtrooms are not theaters, and dignity isn't measured in dollars." I felt the breath return to my lungs, not as relief, but as fire. "I also see that Sergeant Walker has waived legal representation," the judge continued. "Is that correct?" I nodded. My ex-wife whispered something to Marcus, panic growing. I didn't need to hear the words. Her posture said enough. She hadn't expected resistance. She'd expected surrender. The judge nodded toward the BAFE. "Bring me Exhibit C, the private filing the court received this morning." Marcus's face twisted. "What filing?" I turned and reached into my coat pocket. "I submitted it directly, sir. Confidentially." As instructed, I unfolded the envelope. Inside was a document notarized by my military legal counsel 3 months ago. While they were mocking me, celebrating my silence, I'd been preparing quietly. It contained proof. I had paid the mortgage in full, all from combat pay. Screenshots of her joint account transfers into a private investment account, registered under Marcus' name. A letter from her former friend and whistleblower exposing the affair long before she admitted it. And most importantly, the deed transfer I had made before marriage, keeping the house in my mother's name, a precaution she once mocked me for. The judge skimmed it, looked at her, then at me, and then he smiled. "Just a little." "Court recess," he said. "We're going to need to reevaluate a few things." I turned to walk back, but not before I saw Marcus, white-faced, lips tight, and my ex-wife. She was trembling now. This wasn't the courtroom she thought it would be. This wasn't the man she thought she'd left behind. Chapter 3, The Rules of Her New Role. 3 days after the courtroom humbling, I returned to my quiet life. No celebration, no gloating, just peace and focus. But she had no peace. Because while I had stayed silent, I had also stayed ahead. Monday morning, she strutted into the glass lobby of Harbor and Stone Consulting, heels clicking on polished marble. Fresh hair, new bag, same smug confidence. She was about to begin her fresh chapter, the one she told everyone about when she left me. A new job at a prestigious firm, high salary, corner office, all thanks to her boyfriend Marcus. Or so she thought. She passed security with ease. Marcus had already arranged everything. But when she reached the elevator, the receptionist stopped her. "Ma'am, your badge doesn't grant access to the 24th floor yet," her brow furrowed. "That's Marcus' office." "I'm aware, but your assignment is with the Operations and Compliance Division, 7th floor." "Excuse me." The receptionist just smiled politely. "Please see Mr. Durant for onboarding." The 7th floor was different. No corner offices, no skyline views, just rows of desks, gray walls, and laminated policy binders. A middle-aged man in a sweater vest greeted her. "Welcome, you're part of the internal support staff. Division B7, you'll handle logistical intake, document indexing, and audit prep." She blinked. I was told this was a client-facing strategist role. He frowned. Strategist? No, that's not what your contract says. He handed her a packet. She skimmed. Her name, the title, Administrative Support Analyst. Salary, $54,000 before taxes. Her mouth dropped. "There's been a mistake." "No mistake," he replied calmly. "This position was hand-approved by our board president after a specific request. Something about matching experience with background." And then he said a name. A name that dropped like a bomb in her chest. "Mr. Walker." She stood up fast. "He works here." Mr. Dern tilted his head. "Oh, no. He owns the holding company that acquired us 2 months ago." He smiled, genuine and gentle. "We all report to him now." She stood frozen, her heart hammering as the reality settled in. The job she thought was a stepping stone. It was a trap she walked into willingly, arrogantly. A trap built not with bitterness, but with foresight, with strategy, with silence. Chapter 4, The Gala Reveal. 2 months passed. She adjusted to her gray cubicle and meaningless tasks, but the shine had faded. Her boyfriend, the lawyer who promised her a new life, had quietly distanced himself after realizing she held no leverage, no prestige, and certainly no connections. But there was one final illusion left for her to chase: the winter corporate gala, an exclusive, high-profile event held annually by the umbrella firm that owned Harbor and Stone, and a dozen other tech and consulting companies. It was invitation only, a place for power brokers, executives, board members, and top talent. Somehow, she received an invite, likely because of Marcus' lingering influence. Or maybe a clerical oversight. She didn't care. It was her chance to reclaim some dignity, to be seen in a gown, not gray slacks. To remind everyone, including Marcus, that she could still shine. The ballroom shimmered with chandeliers and crystal. Classical music played softly over the chatter of venture capitalists and CEOs. She walked in radiant, wearing the dress she saved for something special. Eyes scanned her, some with curiosity, others with confusion. She floated through the crowd like she belonged until the MC tapped the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we welcome someone very important to this room." She turned, smiling. The lights dimmed. A large screen descended. The MC continued. "This year's expansion, acquisitions, and equity buyouts across 6 firms were led by one man. Please welcome our keynote guest and majority stakeholder of Walker Holdings." She froze. "Mr. Daniel Walker." Every head turned, the ballroom doors opened behind her, gasps, whispers. She turned slowly and saw me in a sharp black tuxedo, walking with calm confidence through the crowd. Security opened the path. Executives clapped. Board members stood, and she shrank. I didn't look at her. Not once. I walked past her like she didn't exist, like she was a faint memory from another life. She tried to speak, but nothing came out. She tried to follow, but someone gently blocked her path. "Only C-level executives beyond this point." She stammered. "But I know him." The staffer glanced at her badge. "Do you? Because he doesn't seem to know you." The room buzzed with admiration. For me, not her. For once, she wasn't the center of attention. She wasn't anything at all. Just a woman in a borrowed dress, standing in the same room as the man she left behind. Now 10 levels above, with power, with peace, with silence. Final chapter. What happened after the Monday after the gala? The whispers began. Not at the executive level. Those people already knew who I was. But down on the 4th floor where she worked in anonymity, her co-workers talked about the man who owned the company. The man who had walked past her like a ghost. "Did you see his entrance?" Apparently, that was his ex-wife. She left him when he was broke. And now he's her boss's boss. The murmurs clung to her like smoke. Every hallway, every coffee break, every glance felt heavier. She tried to act unaffected. She sat straight, smiled politely, typed faster, but the truth sat louder than her silence. I never spoke to her, never acknowledged her, never punished her because she wasn't worth punishing. That's what truly destroyed her. She wasn't fired. She wasn't transferred. She was simply forgotten. And in that forgetting, she realized the full weight of what she had thrown away. Her new life? Marcus, the arrogant lawyer, quickly moved on. Once he realized she had no corporate pull and no assets of her own, he disappeared like vapor. She never saw him again. Her parents, they were quiet now. Her father once asked for a favor to get him a meeting with the new CEO. She hung up. That Thanksgiving, she didn't attend the family dinner. She said she was traveling. She wasn't. She was alone, sitting in a small apartment, scrolling through old photos she used to brag about, ones of us, of what we had. Of what could have been. My life, I moved forward. My success wasn't built on spite. It was built on focus, pain, and choosing to rise rather than beg. But sometimes poetic justice doesn't come in the form of a fiery speech or legal battle. Sometimes it's silence, a door that stays closed, a look that never comes, a name she's no longer allowed to speak. And every now and then I walk past that fourth-floor hallway, not to gloat, not to hurt, just to remind her gently that you don't get to betray someone's love and walk away unscathed. You live with it every single day. Epilogue. The door that stayed closed. A year later, I returned to that building, not out of sentiment, but purpose. We were launching a new mentorship initiative for veterans looking to enter the corporate world. I wanted to host it at our headquarters, where every room was earned, not inherited. I walked past the fourth floor again. Her desk was empty. A younger associate sat there now, cheerful, eager, full of potential. I asked casually, "What happened to the last person who sat here?" He looked up and said, "Oh, she just stopped showing up one day, never gave a reason." But I knew the reason. She had walked through every door she thought would lead her to power, except the one that mattered most, respect, and that door, it stayed closed. Not because I slammed it shut, but because she never had the key. Not when she betrayed loyalty. Not when she laughed at love. And not when she chose momentary comfort over commitment. Some victories don't need applause. Just a quiet hallway, a door that never opens again. And a man who learned when to walk away and when to rise higher. Was this revenge perfectly justified? Or should the storm have raged harder? Drop your verdict below. I read every single one. If you are watching this video, comment below and tell us where you are watching this video from. Hit like if you crave justice and share the story with someone who needs its fire. Subscribe to Revenge Exposed, because here betrayals don't sleep. They hunt their owners. Every shadow hides a reckoning. Every mask breaks. And every betrayal is answered. Stay sharp. Stay unbroken. Stay tuned.